Hey everyone, we'll get back to the podcast in a second, but first I have a new novel out, Holtman Arms. It follows Colvin Hall, an aspiring writer who decides to write a romance novel on a whim, sends it to a publisher, and it becomes a huge success. The only problem is, no one knows it's him because he writes under the pen name Mary Ballantyne. With all of the money and none of the fame, Colvin longs for the world to recognize his accomplishments. When he gets an opportunity to write a freelance article on a washed-up 90s pop star looking for a comeback, that recognition starts to come, but is it all he hoped for? It doesn't matter, because he's getting it whether he likes it or not. Holtman Arms is the second in my author's cycle after A Girl and a Gun, and like that previous novel, it explores themes of success and accomplishment in the 21st century. You can buy it now through Amazon in paperback or on Kindle. The link is in the podcast description. As always, thanks for your support.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Direct-to-Video Connoisseur podcast. This is Matt here, and I am joined once again by Ty from Comeuppance Reviews. Welcome back, Ty.
Hey, I'm back again, talking some Willis and some Mel Gibson and some Johnny drama.
Some Johnny drama, exactly. So yeah, I think it's been kind of a cool thing. Excuse me, with these. We were just talking before we got on the pod about coughing, and then of course I get out, my voice starts to go as we're talking.
Yeah, it happens all the time, doesn't it? I was just saying, I was pushing liquid Mucinex. People are sick.
Yeah, I think I should maybe advertise. We should advertise on our podcast, so like should be like part of the podcasting kit, right? Just
we'll be right. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Podcasting. If you're sick and we have to do a podcast, try liquid Mucinex. Yeah, that's a good idea.
You can see the commercial, right? Like the guy with like kind of the glasses and the hair, and he's like in his garage maybe with like the pad, the foam padding and stuff. Yeah,
I think they make fun of that now because I've seen like fake ads for some guy like on a fake podcast hawking something. And it's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
like a fake Rogan or a fake Alex Jones or something.
Yeah, right. It's like oh, I can't record my podcast. It's like the person with him, right? It's like a woman probably who's like kind of like dressed like kind of like trendy, who's with him, and she's like frowning at him because he can't do the podcast because he's coughing. So she hands him, maybe she like hands him the Mucinex with like a like kind of a dismissive look on her face, and he's
absolutely see that.
Yeah, exactly.
And he takes it's like, hey, I feel better. I can do a podcast now.
yeah. Like I said, right? Mucinex uses those green blobs as mascots or whatever. So maybe like the green blob is sitting next to him. Like
he's doing a podcast too, but he's coughing.
Right. Yeah, he's messing up the podcast.
I'm surprised I haven't done that yet.
Yeah,
it's like
we just have all these ideas for things.
We're banding about ideas for the next no subject, and we got some good ones.
Exactly. Yes, we definitely have some good ones there.
We have enough episodes or enough ideas for at least make a new episode soon, maybe March.
Yeah,
at least for quarterly, February, March.
Yeah, and I think for anybody listening here, the most recent no subject that I did with the guys from Comeuppance is it was released in January, so just a couple weeks ago.
It's out now.
Yeah. So you can go check that one out. We've got some very interesting ideas, including Steven Seagal Christmas movie where he's voicing a dog in a Christmas movie. That idea.
The Seagal Who Saved Christmas to get people interested.
Exactly.
Did he save Christmas? We don't know.
We don't, right.
I don't think we ever explained that, actually.
well, part of it, right, is was it him that saves Christmas, or is it the other guy subbing in for his ADR when he doesn't want to do it?
The other guy subbing in for his ADR.
Right, exactly.
Just serve off whenever the guy does the stunts or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, definitely people could check that out. And, I think with these movies, when you first came to me, Ty, because I first did, of course, the solo Willis episode, and then when you came to me, Ty, and you're like, hey, I kind of have fun. I'd like to do a couple movies like that with you, in a format like that. And we did them. It was a fun time for us, but also it does seem like people are responding to them, and so
that's great. That's great to hear.
Yeah, and so it's kind of one of those things where it seems like it's fun for people to listen to us do these, and it's fun for us to do them. Like it's kind of
fun because it's like I was looking forward to. I'm so happy to see that Wire Room was on Tubi, because when we talked about Wire Room last time, it's like, oh, hopefully it'll be free soon. And like, hey, look, it popped up, because I kind of check almost every day.
Yeah,
see what's going on with these Bruce Willis movies and when they're free.
Yeah, so I'm kind of the same way too. And so just for people listening out there, when it comes to us picking movies for these episodes, one of the rules we have is it's not necessarily that they have to be free to stream, but that's kind of a piece of it. Is that if we can get them somehow. And so like Section 8, when we did that last episode, it was a unique one because I had a free, or I had a
free rental, right?
Yeah, and then
I watched on AMC Plus, so it was just kind of a smush kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like I wasn't even, well, someone has it, so it's like, oh, I'll just watch it. I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, and actually, we didn't even plan on doing that episode. We were going to go strictly Willis with corrective measures and what was the other one? Wanted.
Wrong Place.
Wrong Place. And it just happened that we had both seen Section 8 sort of independently, and we're like, well, why don't we chat about that one too? But that's kind of an exception. Usually they have to be free for us.
That's true. And what's funny is, Section 8, of course, has the best performance of Dermot Mulroney's career.
Exactly.
Which I thought was fantastic, with his bow tie and his, gray goatee and
with the Grecian formula mustache.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, when I saw that, I just like, okay, we have a winner here. We have a winner of a performance. The movie's okay itself, but
yeah, I mean, what's interesting about that movie, we discussed on the pod, is how it's very much like kind of the Emmett-Furla movies. We're going to be talking about two that are Emmett-Furla produced movies here. So we're kind of going back into that well, and I almost kind of
the well again.
Exactly, and I almost think too, for people out there that listen to these episodes, I almost think there's a sense too of like, you go to Tubi, Hulu, whatever, and they're just loaded with these Emmett-Furla productions, mostly with Bruce Willis in them. And I do think people seeing them, it is kind of fun to have a couple people watch them and try to make sense of what we're seeing with these movies.
Because we try to explain it the best we can. Plus, we have a little fun too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm trying to remember, what was it? A Wrong Turn.
Yeah, right.
Well, one of the stars of Wrong Turn pops up in Wire Room, which we'll talk about shortly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll kind of jump in here. So one thing I want to mention to everybody as well, I am drinking my coffee out of my direct-to-video connoisseur mug that I picked up at Threadless. So the mug is actually doing really well. So
it is. That's great.
Yeah. Now, I did also get myself a shirt, which I'm wearing as well, a DTV.
Does it say DTVC? I have to look it up, or I get a free shirt or mug.
Yeah, it has the logo. The problem with the shirt is I think the quality of the shirts, like I got just the plain shirt, and they use that company Gildan, which I don't know if you've ever seen them. If you ever go to like you mentioned Walgreens, like places like that, and get a T-shirt there, I think Gildan is the company.
Oh, that's where they put out their shirts. Is they go to Walgreens. Okay, so
yeah, I got a shirt from John Cross's After Movie Diner Threadless, and it was nicer. So I think it probably depends on what kind of shirt you get. But it also shrunk a lot. I got the XL, and I pulled it out of the dryer, and it was like almost choking me. So
all my socks are missing in my dryer. I can't find them.
Yeah, that happens too. The missing sock thing. It's like, you just kind of.
But I think they do cling to your sheets. I mean, I was trying to look into this. It's like, well, and let's they're in cahoots of like Bob stores or Walmart like that. Okay, so you missing something, but I go to Walmart and buy more.
Right. Well, it is, because they're so small, like they just get into anything, right? They get, like you said, they get in the sheets, they get into sweaters, but also too, even like when you're bringing like piles of stuff in, because there's no really efficient way to get clothes from the basket or whatever into the washing machine, and then from the washing machine into the dryer without just
exactly.
You have to.
This is classic life.
Right.
It's like
you got to do the bundle, and when you're bundling, the socks have a tendency to fall out more than anything because they're so small. It's hard to really get them, latched in there like that. So
you gotta do the skinny bundle you see on TV.
Right.
It's just like,
yeah, I think that's what it is. I think everybody's so busy in life, but also too, it's just an efficiency thing. It's like when you're at the restaurant, right, and the waiter's bringing your dishes back to the dishwasher. They don't want to bring like a bunch of small trips, right? They want to get as many as they can in one go.
They take like 6 or 7, and you're like, oh, wow, okay, you can take all those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and right, that's somebody at the table is contractually obligated to say you got all that, right? I think, right? Hey, you got all that?
Like, like when they say when for your Parmesan cheese on your salad or whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and I think that's the mentality, and that's how socks end up getting lost. And so, yeah, it's I don't. Yeah, it's one of those things. I kind of try to buy all the same kind, but that's the problem too. Sometimes I just don't care. I'm just like, okay, these 2 socks don't match, and it's like
I don't care anymore.
Yeah, it's like even if I'm flying, it's like, well, if I got to take my shoes off, like
no one can see your feet,
right? And even if they do, it's like I think the only thing is like the holes in the socks can be an issue, right? Because that's like kind of a comfort thing. But
I gotta have complete socks. I can't have any holes.
Yeah, I know. That's the one problem with our society today. Nobody knows how to darn a sock nowadays, right? So if your sock has a hole in it, that's it. It's gone. You can't really do anything with it. So
no, that's true.
Yeah, I wonder if there are YouTube videos about darning.
There's got to be something. They unbox, Transformer toys. There's got to be something. It's like, okay, here darning. I go. It's like, what's in here already, don't you?
I wonder if we have another pandemic or another kind of thing like that. I wonder if that's what like the millennial hipsters will it was like sourdough bread in the last one. Maybe the new one will be darning socks. That will be the thing. Like they show pictures of their darned socks and yeah.
I don't care about that darn cat, but that's just me. But it's really good.
Yeah, we got into darning. Yeah, we'll get it. So.
Get some darn drama here.
Exactly. Yeah. So just a bit of a background on this one. We in the first time we did this one, when we did this format, we talked about A Day to Die with Kevin Dillon, and we had a lot of fun with Kevin Dillon with Johnny Drama.
Sure did. I still laugh to this day.
Yeah, and I think part of the thing was that the last 2 Willis films we did, they were kind of duds. And I think that's when you were talking about, hey, let's do some more drama. Let's maybe just do a drama. I think you were almost kind of joking, like, let's do a drama podcast. But then it was like, hey, this is possible. And
and it was. And now it's come true. So.
Yeah, because I think you were like, hey, Hot Seat's available on Tubi. And I was like, oh, that's great because Wire Room's on. You're like, oh, Wire Room too. So we were like, this is perfect. We've got 2, like Johnny Drama.
The Johnny Drama fate gods have helped us do this excellent podcast coming up about Johnny Drama.
Yeah,
well, you're good with the plot description, but I will say, well, jump into the plot description. We can talk about the notes.
We'll start with Wire Room because that one has Bruce Willis in it, and I think we were thinking it might be a good bridge from the other Bruce Willis ones. The second one, Hot Seat, has Mel Gibson in, I guess,
and Shannon Doherty.
And Shannon Doherty, right? So we get some 90210 in there as well, which is good. But Wire Room, they tell you what a Wire Room is twice, at 2 separate times in the film. It's a place where essentially it's when the feds are tapping a criminal. The Wire Room is where all the information goes to, and that's where they monitor it all. So Johnny Drama, we don't really know a lot about it, but apparently he's like a disgraced federal officer, a Homeland Security officer, or something who's given Wire Room duty.
Yeah, again, too, because he was disgraced in A Day to Die, so he loves being disgraced.
He just seems to be disgraced a lot, and I think he was also disgraced in Hot Seat. So he just, he
was.
Nobody does disgraced better than Johnny Drama, I think. That's
he has
probably
that great grimace face that we talked about so much.
Exactly. He's like kind of befuddled and upset, and the goatee and the beady eyes, like all kind of comes together to make this like
perfect.
Yeah, it's you can't. Nobody else does disgraced better than Johnny Drama. So. He shows up. Bruce Willis gives him the lowdown that they're monitoring this guy Eddie Flynn, who's an Irish, like, what did we say? He was like a poor man's mix
like a poor man's Jason Statham and Vinnie Jones together.
Yeah, just kind of a mix there, and it's interesting because he's bald with a beard, but the beard is like thicker around the goatee area. So I initially thought he had a goatee when I was describing him to you, and because he also doesn't like to wear pants. He eventually does put them on, but
took a while.
It did take a while there. Yeah, so. As Johnny Drama's monitoring him, of course, it just seems like a boring gig until a SWAT team shows up and starts picking people off at Eddie Flynn's house. And so now Johnny Drama's got to figure out, do I protect Eddie Flynn because he's got information that we need. So that's when he calls in. And of course, like this wire room thing, it's not just that they have like a bug. It's not like Casino, right? Where
it's
like
a million TVs.
Right. It's like a million. It's like TVs. It's like what was that show on UPN with Sir Mix-a-Lot? Do you remember
That's
that
a
show?
great description. It's not Shasta McNasty.
It's like a show. It barely lasted, but he had like videos on everything, and he could like see everything going on in the world or something like that. It was
that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes. Yeah. Yes.
Great.
Yeah. It was like when UPN first started, and it was like
Good memory.
Yeah. That, or I guess Sliver, right? I guess like the feds are like Sliver, right?
Yeah, where William Baldwin looks at Sharon Stone and stuff or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, we have Johnny Drama in the William Baldwin character. So as he starts to kind of figure out what's going on here, and of course it's very Johnny Drama-ish, like he's sort of like doing things like going to the bathroom and missing important things. He's like bumbling around trying to get the headphones on. He's like bouncing a tennis ball. I mean, he has. We were talking about he probably has ADD. His character has ADD. He just can't sit still for more than 2 minutes. But yet he has to
Kevin
sit.
Dillon or Flynn?
Kevin Dillon, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think he does. He can't stop getting up from his chair. But it's funny because he sits in both of these movies.
Right. They both sit down movies for him. Yeah. So as things are unraveling, he starts to figure out who's involved, who's trying to kill this Eddie Flynn guy. And it's like one of those things where it's like, uneasy allies, right? So like the criminal drug runner is getting helped out by the Fed because he needs to help him, and it's kind of one of those things. And then eventually, it's one of those things too with this movie where the next thing you know, you've only got like 20 minutes left, and now the SWAT team's showing up at the wire room, and Bruce Willis is there too, and they've got to kind of fend off the baddies that are showing up, and and that's kind of it.
That's about it. I mean, what's funny was, Kevin Dillon, Johnny Drama, is late for his job, so Bruce Willis just yells at him the whole time.
Yes.
He's so grumpy in that. He's never been this grumpy ever.
Yes. Bruce. Yeah, this is the grumpiest Bruce I think we've seen, at least in these Emmett-Furla films. Like usually it's more of like a stoic, like almost like a Sphinx-like grumpiness, right? Like he's just sort of just sitting there looking at you, and you just it's almost like the Swedish silence where you need to fill the space when he's just staring at you.
But this time he walks in, he's late. He's yelled at by Willis. He's sworn at by Willis. He's an idiot. Yeah. And it's just and let's not forget that Bruce Willis has like a partner.
Right.
Her name was Nour. Nour. That's why, because I watched the subtitles.
Yeah, same thing.
She kind of looks like Mae Whitman.
Yeah.
I thought it was Mae Whitman, and it's like, oh, she's not going to be in that. But then I was like, well, you never know these days.
Right.
So what's also funny, he's kind of looked like he was wearing pajamas, Bruce Willis, when we first see him.
Yeah, he's very. That's the thing. He's definitely like he looks older and tireder in this film.
Absolutely, maybe one of the most tired I've ever seen him.
Yeah, and he's just sitting on this couch swearing at Johnny Drama, and then like later he's standing in front of a club. So this club really just looks like a hallway to like. Do you remember like in like the 90s and 2000s there'd be like maybe like a game room or a video game room or something like that, and it would just be like some kind of like hallway.
Yes.
And like
you can eventually go in it.
Right, exactly. He never goes in the club.
He does not.
No, he's just outside, and he's got like there's like a neon bottle sign.
Yeah,
and so
there's like a doorman that's like clearly not a doorman.
Right, exactly.
I couldn't believe that. And so the thing is about Johnny Drama's name, his name is Justin Rosa, and people call him Justin Rosen, I think. Mm-hmm. So it's like I thought I heard that said wrong also by Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
And so he leaves. Like Bruce Willis leaves for a good portion of this movie. Then he goes to a bar. That's in quotes.
Right. With the neon bottle.
Neon bottle over.
Neon light bottle or whatever. Yeah.
And he sees that Johnny Drama's calling. He's like, oh, what do you want, you moron?
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's almost like with Willis when Johnny Drama starts to call. And the other problem with this movie that we're talking about the Johnny Drama calling and Bruce Willis calling him a moron. This was like one big problem that I had with this movie is that we see things happen in the movie, and then Johnny Drama, there's this whole construction where Johnny Drama has to explain them on the phone to either Willis or
that's
Nour.
A great point.
Yeah. And he doesn't explain them well, and we're almost like, Johnny, just tell him that the SWAT guys just invaded the guys. And he's like, oh yeah, I saw a couple
I had to
trucks show up, and
call
yeah,
like Eddie Flynn,
right.
kinda.
Right. It's like,
Let me just call you back, and then they call Eddie Flynn back again, talk to him, and I'll call you back. And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what?
it's yeah, it's just like just tell him what's happening. And so that's
No, I know
part of
it's
the
his
reason
first
why.
day, but
Yeah, right. It's like part of the reason why Willis is swearing at him is he's like, I don't know, like, why did you call me just to tell me that some truck showed up at Eddie Flynn's
yeah.
house? And it's like, yeah,
Well, he had a point. Former police chief Alston did have a point.
right.
So it's like, or what's his name? His name was Shane or something. I think it was
Shane, he's Shane in this. Yeah, so
Shane Mueller or something like
Mueller,
that.
right, which is
Yeah.
interesting because I don't think he was ever Shane Mueller in the movie, but he's Shane Mueller on IMDb.
Yeah,
So
that's what it says. I'm going by
yeah,
IMDb. I think they
yeah,
called him Shane.
yeah, they called him Shane throughout. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's. I think that's probably of all the things in this movie that made it difficult. That might have been the biggest one. Is just that Johnny Drama cannot tell. We're seeing things happen in the movie, and then Johnny Drama, like, it shouldn't even be a matter of Johnny Drama needing to communicate these things to Bruce Willis. We should just have him on the phone and know that that's what he's telling him. You know what I mean? It's almost like,
That's a good point. Like it's called two-way call, it's three-way call. It's like, wouldn't it be amazing? But then you have to have Bruce Willis to do his ADR, which
right,
I don't think he will do. Oh,
no,
it's also, and let's not forget one of our Furla buddies is back, Texas Battle,
it's his
as like
battle
the sheriff.
as a sheriff. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It is interesting. Texas Battle has maybe one of the best lines in this movie. So, spoiler alert.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I
There's
should
gonna
have
be
put
some
this.
spoilers, I'm assuming,
Yeah, I
during
should
this
have put the
episode.
warning up earlier. And I don't know that this is necessarily a spoiler because I think you kind of
I
figure
haven't
this
really
out.
spoiled anything though, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this wasn't, it wasn't like this was a huge reveal, but we find out that Texas Battle is the guy who's pulling the strings. And what happens is that Eddie gets Texas on his cell phone, on Texas Battle's cell phone, and gets Texas Battle to admit that he's that he's the one pulling the strings. He's this mysterious character, Junior. So then Eddie
Yeah.
Flynn tells him after, yes, that's right, I did use my cell phone, and he's
Yeah.
like, right. And so Texas Battle, after they hang up the call, he throws his cell phone on the desk and he goes, shit, Peggy. And it was like the best line ever. And of course, I always do the subtitles too. So it's like you see
Yeah.
shit and then Peggy, and it's like, how is that going to come off? And it's like that's what I'm going to say from now on whenever something bad happens. I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
perfect.
yeah,
And I feel like Texas Battle, we talked about this during when we were kind of texting back and forth here,
yeah,
is that he has to sign, like, he just loves these Randall Emmett movies. So he must sign
right.
this huge contract. It's like a scroll, right? That's what he said.
Yeah, well, like, right. That's what we were wondering is maybe he signed a lifetime contract where it was
Yes, he
like,
did,
yeah,
like Bruce Willis did.
right, right. Randall Emmett, like, what was it? Was it Ghost Rider where Nicolas Cage signs this big like scroll thing from
He
like
does,
Peter Fonda or somebody like
he
that?
does.
Yeah,
It's this really long scroll. It's like
yeah.
a Johnny Cage, Johnny Drama, coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like if that's how Emmett-Furla gets people in these movies is he just has
Just,
these
he has
like
a scroll.
right. It's like Scientology has the 5 million year contract or something like that you
Yeah,
sign, or yeah, it's like I wonder if
don't
that's what
sign
Emmett
that.
does. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he has
here's
that. So you have to be in at least 10 of these movies in your lifetime, or you will be
exactly
sued.
right.
So
Oh,
Bruce Willis has made his obligations.
yeah,
Texas Battle's getting there. So Lala can't, I
right.
guess not anymore, but she had at
No.
least 4 or 5 under her belt. So
Right,
she,
right.
so
Yeah, yeah. Well, you wonder too, like if he has a split up with you rule, right? That if he's dating you
yeah,
and then they split and you split, he doesn't hold you to the obligation
I,
anymore. Maybe.
I think he did sign some sort of super contract with Randall Emmett, though. I think you can find it in the back pages of Variety. So it's just like,
Right. Yeah.
or what's the people use soldiers of fortune? They use the back pages to find hitmen. That was
Right.
like the
Yes.
rumor.
That's
It's just like, don't
right.
do that. But
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody out there, don't. Yeah. Go. Instead, you should be looking at Variety to see if we can ever find Texas Battle's lifetime contract
I want to see
with
that
Randall
though. I
Emmett.
like.
But yeah, it's funny because Texas Battle is like he's one of those guys I think that like he's happy to have work, and it's like when he's in a movie like this, he's happy to be working with people like Bruce Willis, and he's just like, yeah, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. I think
Yeah, that's basically what he does. He's usually a sheriff or some sort of you know, police officer or something like that.
yeah. So we find out that he's like kind of the big name, and it's interesting because when we find that out, yeah, it's like the it's one of those things that like we kind of already know it. Like the movie sets it up so much that we already know it that it's just like, when are you going to tell us that this is what's happening?
Yeah, I was like, okay, we know that
Yeah.
Texas Battle is maybe part of this
Right.
scheme.
Yeah.
And I did want to mention what's on my notes here. Yeah, so there's a great part where the movie almost could be like a stupider Night Eyes and a stupider phone booth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like that's what it felt like, when I was watching it. It's like this gonna be like Night Eyes. Oh, it's a dude.
Yeah.
It's just like so. And I remember when Johnny Drama was using his Rubik's cube. Now I like that was a befuddled face for him.
Right.
It's like so it's like I don't think he ever solved it, by the way.
No.
But it's like
No, I mean, Johnny Drama is consistently befuddled, like in every circumstance. He's just, and it's like he's got like these kind of these beady blue eyes, and he's got that goatee, and he has this way of making his face longer when he's befuddled.
How does he do that? It's
Yeah,
like, it's pretty talented.
right.
I don't think Matt Dillon does that.
No,
that's only Johnny Drama's bag of tricks.
Yeah, and what it does with movies like this, I think it says, like when we watch a lot of these Willis movies, right? There's always this dynamic where Willis is not in the movie for whatever reason, right? In this case, it's because his shift is over, so that's how he gets out of the film.
That's an amazing one. My shift's over. You go now. It's like,
yes, I'm going to leave.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, but whatever it is, then you have this younger white guy with a beard who does all the heavy lifting, and it's usually someone who's just got like it's a full beard. They're grimacing. They were probably at some point like more like a teen actor, or like they did kind of like more like romance leads, or something that wasn't really actiony. Not that Johnny Drama's an action guy, but
he's getting there though now.
Yeah, and it feels like he's a little different because he doesn't like we talk about with the grimacing. His grimace face is a little different than like a Jesse Metcalf's grimace face, or a Mark Paul Gosselaar. It's definitely a lot more befuddled in there. That just
because he doesn't have a beard. It's like not. Right. It's like a very, very light goatee that's very hard to see.
Right.
Like. Because when he was, I guess he was, wearing that goatee in Day to Die, and it's like, what the heck? I know maybe he can't grow a beard. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's always had that, and
he has, hasn't he? Yeah.
It's definitely one of those goatees that was like more popular in like the 2000s, and he just stuck with it. Like he just this is my thing. The goatee's my thing. I'm not going to get rid of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that what it's done is it's actually made him a little bit different from the usual guys who always have beards in these movies.
Well, that's what makes it help, because you can't help but laugh when he does his grimace face.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's a movie with Kevin Dillon. I never had a chance to see it. It's called Vampires Out for Blood. It has him and his befuddled face, Lance Henriksen, and Vanessa Angel. Yeah. I always wanted to see. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I just don't want to pay kind of high VHS prices or DVD prices for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm willing to pay maybe 20, but not even that. Maybe like 5.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that or seen it?
No, I'm kind of see if I could find it in here. I mean, because that just sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, it does. I always wanted to watch it. I just never had the chance.
He plays Hank Holton in it. That's his character.
To stop there. He's going to look very befuddled when there's vampires that are out for blood.
Oh, man. He also turns into a vampire, so the beady eyes are like even like beadier because they get that like.
Oh, that's great. That's
great. Like where did that come from when it came to vampires, that they have like the bright blue eyes as well? Is it because they can't be out at night? So I guess there's no need to.
They came out now, or came out during the day.
That's right. It can be out there today, so there's no need to have. You need the bright light ones because you need to be able to see in the dark. Is that what it is, baby?
Yeah, it must be like that. It must have special contacts. I mean, eventually we gotta see this movie. I mean,
who else is in it? Is a woman, Jodie Lynn O'Keefe.
Maybe not Vanessa Angel. I'm thinking of Jodie Lynn O'Keefe. Okay.
No, Vanessa Angel's in it as well. But also,
she is. Okay, good.
Jodie Lynn O'Keefe, who played Nash Bridges' daughter in.
Yes, she was good in that.
Yeah, exactly. So interesting group of people that are in this. So yeah, definitely one that as Melissa Rivers as a talk show host as well. So
as herself, or just as talk show host?
Just as talk show host.
That reminds me. I quickly looked up the Sir Mix-a-Lot thing. It's called The Watcher.
The Watcher. That's right.
I mean, I'm very impressed by that memory. Mm-hmm. So he watched things that he,
Yeah. So it was almost like one of those things. It was almost like a was it kind of like in a Tales from the Crypt way, but not like Tales from the Crypt like
okay.
horror like.
So Tales from from Sir Mix-a-Lot.
It'd be like these stories, and then they would almost be like a moral at the end, and he would like give you this like this thing of like, yeah, see what happens when you're greedy, or something like that. I think that was kind of what it was like. I only watched like one. I remember when UPN first came out, it was like this big deal of like these new shows, and then it was like it didn't take long for the shine to kind of go away on.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. But I mean, they had Shots of McNasty. Right. I mean, I go back in the 90s and go to Deadly Games, which is on UPN.
Yeah.
And I love that show. And there's another show called Live Shot. I never had a chance to watch it, but I used to record Deadly Games on VHS as a kid. Right. And because I'm terrible at taping, I was trying to cut out the commercials, but I couldn't really know how to do that.
Yeah.
So, but it says at the end of this episode, time for a new episode of Live Shot. And it's like, so I looked up Live Shot. It was like a live action TV program. I never got to see any episode. Deadly Game was over, so I turned off the TV, or maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, right? Is that like, it at the time, right, when we were recording these things on VHS, we wanted to get the commercials out because that was like a whole thing of it, right? As you watched about the commercials. Now it's like, now when you watch them and you see the commercials, there's like the whole nostalgia thing, right? Like that's like YouTube gold if you've got those commercials because you can cut them out and upload them, and everybody wants to see them.
That's a good point. I mean, like I think I said this joke last time when you watched Correct Measures on Tubi, but it's like add 1 of 7, it's like 1 of 8, and like it's getting higher, I had to say there was limited commercial interruption for Wire Room.
I was going to say the same thing. I want to say Wire Room. It was like maybe every 30 minutes we had a commercial. So maybe that's what these newer ones. That's what they do. It's possible.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if with a newer one, Tubi maybe even has a deal with them where it's almost like they get more ad revenue for the new ones, and so they don't need to have. There could be a lot of things going on because this is a very new movie to be on.
New. I mean, it came out at least a couple of months ago, so it was not even a year.
Yeah, exactly. So of course I was looking up. I'm still on Out for Blood. So I'm like 2004. No, it's like, no, but
that'd be funny if somehow John can go back in time to make Wire Room.
But yeah, so I wonder if that's part of it. So it's an interesting thing, right? Because I think it's an interesting thing with Tubi that if you see a newer movie on there, maybe that
it might have less commercials, and it's just like I didn't even really mind the commercials. I could take a break from like giant drama. It's like I did also want to mention they mentioned the cartel. Mm-hmm. That I think Eddie Flynn is called the Baja Cartel, and it's like wait a second, Baja Men? It's like so they're Baja Men.
You thought Baja Men, maybe because I hadn't eaten before I watched the episode. I was snacking on peanuts when I watched it, but I hadn't.
So
I was
talking
hungry.
Baja, the taco place.
I thought of Baja Gorditas. Yeah, I thought of.
That's funny. Both the same idea, but different things. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, I can't think of any other Baja Men besides Who Let the Dogs Out.
Yeah,
it's probably like Who Let the Dogs Out remix, and then it's like the other remix.
Yeah, I remember when I saw I saw Sharknado 2. Riff tracks at the theater. So it was like in the theater, they had like the riff tracks going over it, like in here in Philadelphia.
I've seen some of those,
yeah. And I remember there's this scene in that where there's like this flooding and there's a dog stuck in a car and somebody yells, "Somebody let the dog out! Somebody let the dog out!" And then Mike Nelson goes, "The Baja Men's finest moment." And I was like,
it is true. I mean,
yeah. I mean, that song. Yeah, it's funny because like I think in my head like. That's one of those songs that I think is just like it's like the Baja. It's like I don't know. Do we have? I guess because now when you get older, you don't think of new music. But it seemed like in the 2000s, it was always like one song that would always just be this like huge thing that just would be everywhere. That like
everywhere. Like Thong Song was very popular.
Yes, Thong Song, the Macarena, which I guess was more like late 90s. Yeah. Whoop, there it is, I guess, was earlier too, right? That was nice. So maybe this is something that's happened longer. Maybe it was something that went on longer than that.
I get what you're saying. It's because you hear one song over and over and over again. Like, wow, is this ever going to end? And then it does.
Yeah.
Like, hey, then we remember it fondly somehow. Do we remember Who Let the Dogs Out fondly? That's a great question.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, right? Because so nowadays, right? Like people think it's kind of a funny thing and they joke about it and stuff, but part of it's because we lived through it, right? So it's like at the time when you couldn't escape Who Let the Dogs Out, it was like horrible, right? It was just like it's like
end.
It's Right. It's almost like what we talk about with like when we've had Brett on when we've been on, the three of us been on shows. We talk about how horrible insurance commercials are,
Yes.
and it's like Baha Men was that level of disruptive in our lives. But at the time, you think of it. But now that you're out of it, right, and you're gone, it's almost like that pain goes away. That like you don't remember how bad it was, and so now when you hear another one is The Sign by Ace of Base. I see that in
Yeah, I've
commercials
heard
now.
that a lot.
Yeah, and it's like I don't have the same like visceral reaction to hearing it in a commercial
I mean,
nowadays that
it's
I
still
did.
kind of annoying. I mean, that's a kind of
Right.
like, it's like, I mean, like, what's the other one I'm thinking of? All she ever wants is another baby.
Oh yes, yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I
It's
always
like
think of that song when you say The Sign. I don't know what the.
yeah, like I think that was part of it. It's like I guess maybe nowadays, I guess too, because we have so many ways to escape music nowadays too. Maybe that's what it is. Like, back then you only got music on the radio and MTV. So if something was that ubiquitous, there was no way to get away from it. Like it was just everywhere. Like think of jobs. Like how many jobs did we all have where someone was playing the radio, right? And like
Yes.
and I don't know how many jobs nowadays still do just the radio, right? Like
I think,
somebody
yeah,
probably streams
maybe I
Spotify or
remember
something.
that. Yeah, people just go on Spotify, or I think people still do the radio sometimes. Because I remember, okay, no, I forgot what this. I have to point to that story. What my memory?
Yeah,
I remember hearing the radio like it's when you're 104, and then you hear like, oh no, it's 99.9, 80s, 90s, and today. It's like,
yeah,
and they play maybe an 80s song. I think they played like a Peter Gabriel,
yeah.
and they played Ace of Base, and maybe they play Who Let the Dogs Out. I looked up Who Let the Dogs Out, the CD. So there's some other songs.
Yeah,
I mean, there's Get Your Party On.
right.
Oh, that probably sounds like Who Let the Dogs. Get Your Party On. Whoop whoop. But here's the thing: there's actually a remix on the CD. It's the Barking Man remix.
Oh, I think I've heard that because
Yeah.
I think it's also the B side on the single.
Oh, okay.
'Cause I think somebody I knew bought the single.
Oh, something about the single, and it had the Barking Man remix.
I think so.
That's great.
I don't know if it was the cassette one at that time, or if it was like the CD, where they would come like
The
in the
CD.
little sleeve, right? We had like that little sleeve, and
Exactly.
and
I've
it was
seen
like
those.
thin, and it would say like it would be like $1, and it would be like wrapped
Yeah.
in plastic, yeah, that
Yeah,
kind of
I've
thing.
seen those at a place we had called Coconuts,
Yeah.
or another one called Strawberries.
Oh, strawberries. We had strawberries for sure
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
Strawberries, nice.
Yeah. I think it's now a Guitar Center in my hometown in Portsmouth.
Ours is like a health food store. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly.
So it's nothing that fun.
No, no.
So
Yeah.
well, let me see if any other notes I have for Wire Room. I got distracted by Who the Dogs Out.
That's
like
all right.
we all do.
Well, one thing I wanted to get into was the baddie, was Oliver Trevena.
Yes, I do want to talk about him for a second.
Yeah, and interesting. So this seems to be another. Again, I don't know if I want to say it's an Emmett-Furla production kind of thing or
Who's
what.
an actor? Yeah.
Yeah, these idea of these baddies who are not completely baddies, right? So like, remember, was it A Day to Die, right? We had Leon, who
Yeah, Leon, he was the baddie, and then he wasn't the baddie, and then they
right,
like go on a nice cruise at the end.
exactly with Matt Dillon, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they play House of the Rising Sun, the Barking Man remix.
exactly
So
the
it's just
barking.
Exactly.
But yeah, Oliver Trena, the problem with him, his character, is that there's not really anything to sink your teeth into there with him,
No,
right?
he's actually really irritating to
Right.
watch.
And so there's a scene in the movie, again, spoiler alert, that it's not really, this is not that much of a spoiler, but there's a scene where we think the baddies have killed him, right? They go into this basement area, and then they come out dragging what looks like him. And then we, and then
like
Johnny,
drama is like sad too.
right?
Like,
Yeah, he's sad. He's defeated. Right? He's like,
Yeah.
oh man, I think he may even throw his headset on the table.
Yeah, that's how you get bad.
Right. He's and it's very much like that face. Again, you get like the long goateed face with like
face that he does.
yeah, and then we know what's going to happen. We know that this Oliver Trena bad guy character is dressed as one of the SWAT team guys, and he's going to pick all these other people off. And so then he does it, right? And then he gets on his phone. He's like, "Hey, that's right, federal agent man, or whatever. I survived it. I'm here, and all this stuff and whatever." I don't know my Irish accent. I don't know how good, but some, but
I can't do UK accent unless you want me to make him sound like Trump or something.
right?
Kevin Dillon, Johnny Drama, it's okay. Oh wait,
Awesome.
I killed out this guy. It's okay.
Yeah, that would have actually worked, I think. But yeah, so then he he finds out he's alive, right? Suddenly, oh, so actually he's from England.
Well, yeah,
So
he's from England. That's why I call him a fake Statham.
that's right.
You know,
Yes,
it's like
that makes sense.
I'm surprised. Because now we have a fake Statham. Well, people think Luke Goss is a fake Statham, but
Yeah.
soon we'll probably have real Statham in these straight to videos.
Yeah,
I'm
we're getting
surprised that
there.
we're getting close. We got close in the late 2010s or whatever. You
Yeah.
had Chaos, you had Blitz.
Yeah.
You had one more,
Yeah.
but it's like, okay, I want Statham to go straight to video because first off, he's not making anything really good lately.
Yeah.
So I think he could just stick to his action roots, which he likes to do, and to go straight to video. I'm surprised Killer Elite didn't go straight to video.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
it would today, I think.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get there with him. I think you're right, because I think you're right. This is kind of like,
I think he's next on the straight to video chopping blog, which is fine. I'm happy to watch any straight to video Statham that are good because I don't really care about the Meg or Wrath of Man. If I was disappointing,
yeah. I wonder if maybe Randall Emmett is heading out to England to with a huge scroll to sign to get Statham. And
I love to see that. He got scrolled with Bruce Willis, and I guess Mel Gibson, which would be a good segue.
Yeah,
but I do want to mention one thing about you want to talk about the guy? You want to talk about the British guy again?
Well, one other thing, was so like when we find out that he's not dead, right? Or when Drama finds out he's not dead, his befuddled, begoatied face just lights up, right? Yep. And he's just like, "Oh man, you had me," and it's the kind of thing that maybe if we cared about the characters, it would have been like a fun thing for us too. But we're just like, just get on with it. It's like I just had this feeling like just get on with it. Like
that's exactly what I thought with the Willis character. Like if this is exactly what I put. I said if he cared more.
Right.
And he could have been like a good twist. He was the villain, not Cameron Douglas or Texas Battle.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great? Like if, you know what? I've been part of this the whole time.
Yeah. Bruce Willis would have been great as just he's. Yeah. I agree with you there. It just. It was.
I think I could just see it. It's like and like. Oh, so it was you the whole time, Drama says. Like, yep, it was me. But in a more fun Bruce Willis-y way.
Right, exactly.
But I could just see that'd be so cool. And then maybe they can have like a okay fight scene. Because don't forget that Kevin Dillon, Johnny Drama, he jumps over a couch while he's getting shot at, and that was kind of hilarious.
Yes.
Oh, that whole place looks nice, by the way. We were talking about that, right? The whole wire room.
the wire room. So it's interesting because we were talking. One of the things we talked about are the blood squibs in this. They use CGI blood squibs, and
oh my goodness, they were really bad.
Yeah, and I found out from
Tom level.
Yeah, they really were. And I found out from Tom Jolliffe, who did Renegades, that part of the reason why they do that is when they have trouble getting locations, if they can't destroy the location, they've got to use more CGI to do the scenes. And so I think that's what happens with the mansion, right? That explains the mansion. But the wire room, they were able to blow that up. And I wonder if it was like one of those things where it was like, well, we don't want to use blood packets in the wire room because we use the CGI ones in the other one. We wanted to look consistent maybe, but yeah, because the wire room, like you said, the wire room looked like a really great place to hang out, and it is kind of a shame that they start blowing it up.
Yeah, don't blow it up.
Yeah, I know. It might have been the best thing in the movie, actually. Now that you mention it,
that's why they call it that. I don't call it annoying British guy's mansion movie. Right, I got. So it's like.
Yeah, because the couch, like the couch that Bruce Willis is sitting on, it looks like the kind of couch that just sort of, takes you in, right? Just sort of like
better than my couch.
Yeah, same here. I definitely couldn't fit it in my living room, that's for sure.
No, it's like a super couch.
Yeah, and then they've got all the TVs, and one of them has a baseball game on, which I could see you think about what you could do with a couch like that and those TVs. You could throw on a bunch of great. You could throw on an action movie, and you could almost do it like a DJ, right, with music where you kind of fade in one song and fade. You could almost you could fade out Wire Room with the credits and fade in Hot Seat on the next TV set. It's almost
So I have to say, you know what? We were making fun of this movie a little bit, but I have to say I really thought it wasn't that terrible. Because of drama, because of maybe just seeing how grumpy Willis is. There's something about the only thing annoying was the British guy.
Right, exactly. It could have used a better baddie. Drama. Yeah, there's a few things I think we can say about the movie. Is that I mean, the first 20 minutes or so, there's like really nothing that happens, but it is bolstered a little bit by Willis swearing at Johnny Drama and him making these like sort of either befuddled faces or almost like I don't know how to describe the other face. It's almost like a "Hey, what do you want from me?" kind of face. Or,
yeah,
hey,
he was kind of like,
this guy. You're
okay, like he was like he looked confused a lot when he was getting yelled at by Willis and fake Mae Whitman, and it's like.
Yeah, it's one of those things that makes padding a little bit easier to take because it was a lot of padding.
I agree.
Minutes is
but that's a great point because it's like, well, I wasn't really bored or anything. I mean, it was like I only checked my watch phone or whatever, just like maybe once or twice. And it was wrong place. I was looking at the whole time.
Yeah,
just like minute by minute crawls away. But
yeah,
I was kind of somewhat hooked in.
Yeah, I think with a premise where you've got Kevin Dillon playing a character who's pretty much sitting most of the movie, right? They mitigated. I think the mitigation approach where you've got him telling the baddie where to look for the attackers and they're kind of working together. I think that mitigation approach works better with a better character person in there.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, let's say I'm trying to think of a good example. Maybe a Luke Goss. Luke Goss played this guy. Yeah. And you can see like Johnny Drama helping Luke Goss kind of get out of his own mansion. Yeah. That could have been something interesting. Yeah. But this guy's so annoying every word he really draws breath. So it's like, oh. But then, I remember you see in movies or behind the scenes footage where you see a bunch of green screen TVs. Mm-hmm. It's like, I bet that's what it looked like when they were making Wire Rooms. Like a bunch of green. I looked at the behind the scenes of that. It's
you might be right there.
When they show phones, I hear that costs a lot of money to actually show like an iPhone like picture.
Right. So
so I bet it's all green, and so you got to give it up to Johnny Drama to act around screens.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is a big part of this movie that makes this different from the usual Emmett-Furla is that Kevin Dillon's character, yes, he's a federal agent, but he's kind of a bumbling one. He makes mistakes. He makes a
lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and usually when it's the Jesse Metcalf, I'm trying to think of some of the other people. Chad Michael Murray,
Jesse Bradford.
Jesse Bradford. Yeah, those kinds of people. When it's those actors in the movie, a lot of times there's no bumbling aspect to them. They're usually just sort of this cold, like humorless, stoic, right? One note.
Kevin Dillon had a couple. I would say, he was likable. That's what I wrote down in my notes. Because I would say he's kind of like an everyman. He's just kind of a dum dum, but just like. But there's something about him.
Right. I think this is something that for Emmett-Furla and I say Emmett-Furla. I'm talking about Emmett-Furla Productions. I know it ran a lot, but I think for people that are looking at these movies and there's this idea of like, there's this idea, right, that the movie has to be this one note, bearded, grimacing white guy who's a former special forces and all these things. That there is something about drama that actually makes this a format that they use here a little bit easier to take. And I think this is something that they should look at. If they could, obviously you probably can't get drama in all of these. I mean, I don't know what the scroll, the details of the scroll.
Yeah, I just see a scroll, but if we can keep drama going on these things, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because I would just keep watching it because there's something.
Yeah.
He has it, I think.
Looking at so the director of this was Michael Eskandari, who he's kind of in that stable of the Emmett-Furla directors. So he's done Hard Kill, he's done Survive the Night.
Hard Kill.
Yeah, and
Survive the Night. I still haven't watched that yet. I'm still behind some Willis's.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but I have seen Hard Kill, and you could
watch that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can really draw the difference between the two, right? That like Hard Kill has Jesse Metcalf in that, I mean, even Hard Kill also has Texas Battle in it as well,
I think even Lala.
Right, Lala Kent's in it. Yeah. So Wire Room is so much better as a result of having drama in that part. I think
it's a huge help.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what helped the movie just chug along in an okay fashion.
Because one of the things that Hard Kill also has is they have a huge padding exposition scene, right, where they're Jesse Metcalf's in the limo with Texas Battle and
I
Bruce
remember
Willis.
that scene. Yes.
Yeah, and they're just talking for 20 minutes, and it's
a
like
long time.
Right, it was hard to handle. But here, when you've got it with Willis and Drama, I mean, they're even at a point where Drama is explaining what a wire room is, even though we already had the title screen telling us what a
yeah,
wire
we
room
had
is.
that already, but
Right.
I still enjoyed it. You know?
Yeah, I think that's something to think about. That for them making these movies, that a drama is a better way to go. I think overall for
I
us.
agree. Yeah. That's just a great way to look at life too.
Right, exactly. Perfect.
I guess if you anything else you want to say about Wire, I'm gonna jump to
Yeah, no, I think I'm good. I don't know if you had anything else, but
no, I think I said all of my talking points.
Yeah, so I think final take is this one is kind of one of those ones that's like it's definitely a bit of a slog, but it's made better. It moves along enough, and then Drama and Willis help it enough.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
I can't agree more. So,
yeah, I think if you're
actually
getting
was
it free on
expecting
Tubi,
the work. It was free. I was
yeah, me too.
I really was expecting like, oh, this is gonna be a real tough sit. What is this? That's why I thought, I watched it first. I was like, okay,
Right,
get the tough sit out of the way.
Yeah,
I actually really enjoyed it. Just as like the American Siege, like the Family Guy,
right.
American Siege. I thought that was going to be the dud.
Right.
So
yeah. So overall, not a bad one here. So
not that Day to Die, it was a dud because that movie's so insanely stupid.
Right. Again, Drama helped that movie too.
Oh my goodness, Drama helped that one.
Yeah,
I guess
we might be onto something here as we move into the next one, Hot Seat. Now, one thing I quick want to say actually too, we didn't chat about this before we did the podcast, but with these two movies, so actually Hot Seat isn't a Willis movie, so maybe it doesn't count. But our friend Todd the Brain has not done Wire Room either. So I think we talked about this as kind of a trend that he wasn't really covering these Willis films anymore, and so. Yeah, neither of these have been done.
We're back on the beat. I know we're just taking over his. We're
Yeah,
just happy to oblige.
I think
out. You know,
there's fatigue.
Willis beat.
Yeah, I think there's some fatigue there, and so hopefully for us,
I can't get fatigue on this. I kind of want to watch them all.
Right, I know it's almost like we've started, and we're just like now. Granted, we are taking a little break from Willis on this next one here.
Yes, we are.
As we kind of move into, but we're sticking with the drama, and I think that was
back to drama.
I think that might have been the right play here as we move into to Hot Seat. A couple things about Hot Seat. So this one's newer, I believe, right? I think it's
on 2022.
Just
like Wire Room.
They both came out in 2020, so they're kind of around the same time. Yeah, I guess they're around the same time.
Same time frame, because he's back as Orlando Fryer Tuck.
Right.
And it's like, and I love the beginning because there's a guy that kind of looks like a fake Gerard Butler.
This is kind of all around an interesting one. So maybe I'll jump in. And I'll do the
jump into the synopsis. And
I'll do the synopsis.
Fake Gerard Butler and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So Hot Seat. So again, we've got Kevin Dillon is disgraced. This time he was a hacker who was busted for being a hacker. He was a rat, right? So we could go Ray Liotta here about this.
Oh, you're a rat.
Yeah.
You want me to do that? I'm happy to do it.
yeah. Definitely. Ray Liotta would not be a fan of Dillon's character here. So he rats out his co-conspirators, and he's trying to make good in a new life, working IT tech support. He goes into work on his day off because he gets called in, which of course his wife, played by Lydia Hull, who is also a mainstay in these Emmett-Furla productions. She's been in a ton of them.
Very, very angry at Giant Drama, and he looks very bored too.
Yeah, one of the funny things about it, right, is that she hands him, when he explains that he can't go to the daughter, so it's the daughter's birthday that day, or their daughter Zoe, and and of course the other thing too is the daughter's a teenager. So I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, I didn't really care about my parents being around for my birthday. But
I thought that was a little odd. I thought she was gonna be like 5 years old or something. No, just like 15 or 16.
Right. They're like putting together balloons and stuff like that, like you would for like a kid's birthday party.
Yeah, something seemed off about that. Did you want to like chill with your buddies at the mall?
Right, exactly. Right. So then Lydia Hull, because she's so mad, this is like the last straw that he's going into work on the daughter's birthday, that she had these divorce papers already drawn up that she gives him, which kind of makes me, if she was already thinking divorce papers, wouldn't she not want him there at the birthday? Because she's like, I already can't stand you, so just go, get away, that's fine. I
know this is a huge jump into what the plot is, but that's not really resolved too well.
No,
at the
right.
end of the movie.
It's one of those things where I guess because they go through all this crap that it's like, okay, everybody's happy in the end. But you're right.
Never fine now.
Yeah, which I don't know that's not really how marriage counseling works. But yes.
Well, go ahead. I forgot that it wasn't really like, oh yeah, you're not gonna get divorced now.
Yeah.
Orlando Fryer.
So then what happens is he's at his job, he's sitting in his chair, and all of a sudden he sees some weird like skull graphics on his computer.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. I thought. Just to jump in there for a second, he sees like a flash.
Right.
And he's like, that's kind of interesting. And it doesn't come back for a little bit.
Yeah.
But that could have been like something in his brain. I thought that'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little bit too maybe cerebral for Hot Seat.
Oh, that would have been great though. Like, because there's a delivery guy who drops stuff off, and we think that delivery guy is the one who like has to do with like these bomb things.
Well, that's in the beginning, right? So there's a bomb in a park and they blow up a fake Gerard Butler guy.
That's right.
And after that, they jump into this plot.
Yeah. So it would be kind of funny if it was like, you remember like a lot of TV shows, they would like shoot somebody with like this like dart thing that would go into the back of their neck or something, and they would control them or something. Like
it was hilarious because I was cracking up because that was the opening of the movie, the fake Gerard. So
yes, exactly.
It was the terrible CGI fire, and it was just like, I've
right, yeah, exactly.
This is day to die over again.
Yeah, we know we're in for it at this point. So then, when Kevin Dillon sits down at his chair, suddenly, after a couple of shots of this skull thing, we hear the distorted voice guy who's like, there's a bomb underneath your chair. You better do what I tell you, or you're gonna blow up.
Right.
And then we get full on befuddled, freaked out, like a mess face with Kevin Dillon. He's
super befuddled face in this one.
Yeah,
he turned up that he had a befuddled face.
I mean, which we needed, right? Because this is now turned into a sit down role for him, a complete sit down role.
Yeah, I'd say 90% he's sitting because he has to.
Right. It's so the befuddled face just really gets us through a lot because. I don't know about you, but this plot, because just to give you an idea of what the plot is. So then Mel Gibson plays a bomb tech guy who's like a veteran bomb tech guy who he's investigating the first explosion. Then he's
Wallace Reed.
Yeah, and then they find out about this one. What happens is that the way that the cops find out that Kevin Dillon is sitting in this chair is that they blow up that the baddie blows up an elevator. Now. This draws the attention of the authorities, and then they think Kevin Dillon is the bomber, and but Mel Gibson knows that's probably not the case. He's like the guy who like knows there's more going on here.
And he's talking to the guy from My Name Is Earl, and it's just like I never watched that show. That's Mel Gibson's partner.
Yeah. What with that? Eddie Steeples.
Steeples, yeah. So he's talking to Eddie Steeples. They call him Action Jackson because his name is Jackson.
Right. Yes.
That's what Mel Gibson calls him.
Yeah.
I had to give it to Mel Gibson because I kind of have a bias. He actually put in somewhat of an okay performance, even for this kind of garbage he got.
Yeah, I mean, and I should say again, from a plot standpoint, this is pretty much it. That's it. Yeah. This guy's using the bomb to get Kevin Dillon to steal money. At the same time, Kevin Dillon has to kind of figure out while he's stuck in this seat how he's going to get out of it. We have a woman named Ava who just seems to be, here.
I love Ava. That's my favorite character.
Yeah, and then of course like there's this guy spoiler alert, like the person that does it, you know already who it is that did it.
Almost
it's like
immediately.
It's kind of the same thing as the other movie. Like it's not really any kind of
it's like
mystery.
He's like the Texas Battle character, basically.
Right, yeah. So that's kind of it. We just kind of get there. I mean, the character who plays his like coworker, Michael Welch. He's like a poor man's Devon Sawa, I guess.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be the best bet. And then of course, Shannon Doherty is the police chief. It's one of those things with her character where it's like they have this ruse of a female in control kind of character, but really like she never makes the right decisions, and Mel Gibson's always telling her what the right decisions are, and she changes her mind to make it's like. It's like this.
Yeah. Just shoot giant drama in the head. I don't really care. Just kill him.
Right. Yeah. At one point, like she takes the advice of the snipers to kill Johnny Drama, and then Mel Gibson's like, no, it's not him, and she's like, stand down, and it's like that whole thing of like,
and it's all cliches. Like I just kind of roll my eyes a little bit. I laughed, but I still roll my eyes. It's just like.
I don't know about you overall with this movie, but I felt like this. I always say I've been saying this a lot lately, but I think this episode maybe had enough for an episode of a syndicated TV show, but not enough for a movie.
I could see that, because it's like it felt like it was two different movies.
Yeah, And it was just there's just so much you can do with him sitting in a chair like this.
I'd rather him be sitting in a chair than one of these like boring prison movies.
Right. Yes, that's true. This was not a prison slog. This was a sitting in a chair slog.
It was a sit slog.
Yeah.
But like, I gotta go back to Eva for a minute because so this character just kind of wanders in, right, looking for Enzo.
Yes.
And her acting is interesting.
Yeah. So it was weird because I think she didn't know how she wanted to play this character. Was she going to play it as like the ditzy blonde character who maybe has something not quite right about her?
That does seem like that's what Enzo was kind of saying. Like, Eva's crazy. Oh.
Right. So she's trying to play that, but like she did it so much that you're just like what are we doing with this? Like, what is it?
What is this character? I mean, like, and she got a lot of screen time, almost more than Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I think she did get more than Mel. I think she got more than anybody but Kevin Dillon, actually.
Yeah, and the actress is named Kate Katzman.
Yeah.
So I looked her up, and she's in Paradise City with Willis. Right. She's in Panama with Mel Gibson again, and Survivor the Game with Willis.
Yeah. So
I'll have to watch these.
Another person who, Randall Emmett showed up at their doorstep with the contract and said, "Yeah, here we go.
Here you go, Kate. You want to be in this?" And I'm going to check out Panama very soon. I just want to watch so much Mel Gibson in a row because I recorded Agent Game and Panama on Showtime.
Yeah.
And there's like the Mel Gibson channel over there because they also have another one called Bandit. I think it's Josh Duhamel.
Right. Oh, I've seen ads about that one. Yeah.
I hear it's actually decent.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I say. You heard something and you watched it, or?
Oh no. Well, I was gonna say about Mel Gibson overall that I usually stay away from just because he's he's got so much problem.
He's a lot of baggage.
Yeah, I mean, the best joke about Mel Gibson I can think of is way back like maybe 10 years ago or maybe 15 years ago, PBS did this special where Dick Cavett was interviewing Mel Brooks, and they it was like a live show, so people in the audience could ask questions. And this guy gets up and he's like, yeah, so hey Mel, it's funny when I tell my friends that my favorite director is Mel Brooks, they say to me, how can you like that anti-Semitic, homophobic, chauvinistic guy? and so everybody was like on the stage like, what what is he saying this? And he's like, yeah. And then I tell them, no, my favorite director is Mel Brooks, not Mel Gibson, and they all burst out laughing. And it's like okay, so that kind of and just because Mel Gibson's like that, that's why we get him in these movies. When I was watching this one, and I don't know about you, but it's like he's good here.
That's what I thought. It's like actually put in a decent performance. You actually care about his character for the most part.
Yes,
like, he could have mailed this in.
Yes,
which I'm really surprised he did. He kind of mailed in Forces of Nature, I have to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever watched that, but
no, I haven't seen that one. But I think he kind of mailed in.
He sits in a chair and like coughs. That's basically what he does.
Yeah, I mean, I think he kind of mailed in. I can't think of the name. The one with Grillo. Where he keeps coming back to life.
You're talking about Boss Level?
Boss Level, yeah. I think he kind of mailed in that baddie.
Yeah, I liked. I wish there was more Mel Gibson. I liked Boss Level actually.
The movie overall, I liked. Yeah, but I think Mel Gibson was better in this than he was in Boss Level.
That's very interesting that you'd say that. I feel like if there was more Mel Gibson in Boss Level, I think that would help because he's got that kind of evil looking beard. It's like which he likes to have. It just looks like he looks like the devil or something.
Yeah, well, there's
that
for
funny.
sure.
I don't know. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Mel Gibson. So,
well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say this movie reminded me of why we liked him in the '90s. Like, there's charisma in this character.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was kind of joking around. He was like smiling,
witty one-liners. Yeah. The mustache was kind of funny that he's wearing.
Yeah.
It's like because essentially he's doing the Bruce Willis character in this.
That's a good point.
He's doing the Bruce Willis character not because he's ill and he needs to get as many films in as he can before he retires. He's doing it because he can't. He should be like in a Marvel movie, right, or a Star Wars movie. Like he should be in those blockbusters, but they can't touch him. He's just so toxic that like.
Well, that's the thing. It's what's mixing me like because he's in Braveheart, all the classic Lethal Weapon movies, and it's kind of a big step down from being into a giant drama movie like third build. It's just like maybe second build. Basically.
He because him and Willis both. When you think of the '90s, they were two of the biggest names, and it's Gibson really, it's really because of that. I mean, if Disney wanted to put him in a Marvel movie, like it wouldn't work, right? You just couldn't use him. And I know like Stallone used him as a bad guy in Expendables 3, and then also
He did a great job in that, by the way. I don't know if you watched.
Yeah, well, he stole the movie, right? He
completely stole from every single person.
Right. It's like it was kind of the funny thing about those Expendables movies, just sort of on a tangent there, where it's like Stallone created those for him, and then it's like Dolph steals the first one. So then he diminishes Dolph's character, and he tells Van Damme, well, if you want to be in the movie now, you have to be the baddie. So Van Damme steals it as the baddie in the second one. So he's like, okay, I'm getting rid of him, and I'm also getting rid of Dolph, and I'm just going to bring in all these young guys like Kellen Lutz, and there's no way now that it can't be my movie. Yeah. Right. The Mel Gibson comes in.
And he steals it from every single cast member.
Yes, exactly.
He's absolutely amazing, and he just says all this crazy stuff.
Right.
And he's hilarious in it. It's like, and you're like, oh, it stole the movie again.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with part 4. I don't know how, because Stallone has had this movie taken from him 3 times in a row, and
what's gonna happen? Who's gonna steal it this time?
Right, exactly.
Stallone finally gets it 4th time's the charm.
Right, because I mean, really, what he has to do is he just has to make it essentially him and Kellen Lutz, and then he could and Ronda Rousey or something like that.
If you remember from the 3rd one, there's a good portion of just Stallone and Kelsey Grammer hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so it's like, which I guess I enjoyed, but I mean, like,
yes, well, because was Kelsey Grammer playing the Bruce Willis part? And they couldn't get Bruce Willis for the film or something.
I know Harrison Ford's playing the Bruce Willis part. Kelsey Grammer's just kind of like the Machine Gun Joe character or whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
Harrison Ford does nothing, but it's really kind of like, it's really fun to see him slum that hard.
Yes.
Harrison Ford, and it's just like Harrison Ford and Stone are talking. Like, this seems wrong to me, which I obviously enjoyed it, but it's like, what?
I know. It's amazing because I kind of forget about that piece with Gibson, where it was like, I think there was kind of these test balloons with him where they put him in Expendables, and then also Machete, the second Machete movie, is the bad guy, and it was like this idea of like, okay, everybody can't stand him because he's so toxic, so let's have him be a bad guy and see how that works. And I think it still didn't quite take the way that they thought it would, but it's like, so now it's like he's doing these Emmett-Furla films, but the thing with the Emmett-Furla films, I think from our standpoint, like I would always kind of try to stay away from Gibson because of how toxic he is, but seeing him in this, I'm kind of like, I think
that's the thing, he's still got it,
right. And if he's going to be taking these from Willis, maybe we I got to kind of dip into more of these movies.
Well, I'm gonna check out this other one because Agent Game has Dermot Mulroney.
Yes,
right. I think it's gonna be more of a normal Dermot, not a crazy Dermot.
Right. Like, well, he's got that one. He has another one coming with he's got On the Line with
with Johnny Drama.
With Johnny Drama in it. And then he's got that Bandit one. So he's really picking up the slack here. I mean, in 2022 he had you mentioned Panama, Agent Game, something called Father Stew, which that's the one. So
what's his name? Marky Mark? Okay, well, you do the Marky Mark impression from Fear.
I'm so gonna do a Marky Mark. Yeah. Oh yeah, Fear. Daddy, you will forever hold your peace. Yeah.
I know. No, that's funny. I mean, like, I wish you could song that the whole time.
Right. Yeah. So that one I think was kind of a bigger budget thing.
It was a bigger kind of release for Mel. So
yeah.
I didn't watch it. I mean, not that I'm like have 25% interest.
Yeah. I haven't really done that one, but he does have these other ones coming. I mean, Bandit. I mean, it's an interesting thing with Gibson where it's like you said, like he's great as an actor.
Yeah.
Like he's. I mean, for his generation, I would say like for the 90s, I don't know. I mean, again, Willis was big in the 90s too, but I don't know of anybody else that it was like there was nobody
hit after hit after hit. And it's like they're all. I mean, I love Payback, which I thought was that was a good movie. And of course, We Were Soldiers, and it's like The Patriot. It's like, you have those 3. I can just retire.
Right. And I mean, he's doing the he's doing the Lethal Weapon films, of course, but Conspiracy Theory. I mean, obviously Braveheart was just huge. But remember he played Maverick, and I mean,
look at that career. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So, but and it's kind of funny to see him in these things now. I mean, like now he has another one coming out soon. I think it's called Informant.
Yeah.
It's directed by the guy who made Out for a Kill. So.
Yeah. Well, great. He's kind of fully into the Emmett-Furla thing. I was thinking like the Maverick one. Somebody was talking about all of the in the 90s there were all these really bad TV movie adaptations of old TV shows. But Maverick was one of the few that actually worked for me. I liked Mel Gibson as Maverick. He did that part well.
It was fun. That's a fun movie, Maverick.
Yeah. So it's almost one of those things for us now, I guess, doing these kinds of movies, that it's almost like, hey, Mel, it's your fault that you're here because you're not a great guy.
You fell off, but now if you're coming back,
but you
have to come back here. That's the thing. You have to start here.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, I think he definitely, obviously, because Bruce Willis, of course, has the physical limitations that are hurting him, and so that's part of the reason why
he would have been in this for sure. I mean,
right, exactly. This probably would have been Bruce Willis's part in this, and it wouldn't have done what I mean, there definitely still some problematic things, like again, like the fact that like he's not the chief. Shannon Doherty is, but he's the one who's like telling the chief everything to do. So it's almost like this idea of like, you can have a woman in power, but they're not going to know what they're doing. So you need to still have a guy there to tell them what to do. So there's that element there still. And then the other thing too, I guess maybe with Shannon Doherty is we know she's been dealing with health issues. That might have also been part of the problem, is that they wanted to give her a role that she didn't. Yeah, she didn't need to do as much in it, and so. Maybe that's part of it too, is that Mel Gibson's character, Mel was able to kind of give a little bit more in his part to prop up.
I think he brought that up. He brought people up a little bit, because I want to mention a couple other things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which was that Johnny Drama liked to say "bro" a lot in this movie.
Yes, yeah.
So it's called Charm, bro.
Yes.
Okay, and then he's like the guy ends up talking about having like a ham sandwich for breakfast. Like, whatever, dude.
Right.
And it's like, I thought that was really funny. And then I also enjoyed the well, see, the fake Gerard Butler guy, his name was V Havoc, which I thought was really funny.
Yes.
Like, who's okay? I wish they kind of went into that a little bit more, but I'll take it, because there's something about like the hacking community that's kind of funny. They have these goofy nicknames.
Yeah, well, because I think one of the things with this movie, I wonder if this movie would have been even longer, and they just they cut things out like that, whereas like we can't get too much into that guy, into the the V Havoc kind of thing. We can't.
Well, I kind of laughed, like, they killed V Havoc? No, I don't think they actually said that. But I mean, like, they basically did, which made me laugh.
Right. Well, because one of the funny things too is that like because Kevin Dillon's character, his code name as a hacker was the Red Knight. And it is kind of too bad that they don't have Orlando Fryer and then in parentheses Red Knight or something like that.
Yeah, I know.
That would have been great.
That out.
Yeah.
But I'll take Orlando Fryer. It's a great name, actually. It's like
great names in these, right? Because it was Justin Rosa, and then what was it? Connor Connolly in A Day to Die?
Connor Connolly in Day to Die.
Yes.
When he said his name, I almost fell on the floor laughing. Connor Connolly. It's great writing. It's like, I like to see his befuddled face when he's reading the script. Wait, my name is Connor Connolly.
Right, you could see like the backing up head, right?
Yeah.
With the mouth going down, like, and then like the eyes getting wider, like, what? This Connor Connolly?
It's like, all right, I need a job.
I didn't even realize that Shannon Doherty's character is Chief Pam Connolly in this. So
maybe they're related.
I wonder if that's his sister, right?
It's the Day to Die hot seat multi-universe.
Right, exactly.
It's like that's what people love, these multi-universes lately, or multiverses, I guess.
Oh man, can you imagine like with Bruce Willis just taking all the footage of Bruce Willis in these movies where he's wearing a badge of some sort, and they just put it all into one movie where he's like all like, somebody's ADRing him talking to himself.
I can see that. I'm surprised they haven't done that. There must be like bits and pieces of footage of Willis hanging around in the Furla archives.
Yeah,
he's gonna make something.
The Emmett-Furla verse, I think, would be that would be like.
Well, now we will patiently wait for Savage Salvation, as I keep mentioning.
Yes, so. yeah. So it's going to be interesting when we get because I think kind of going back to what we're chatting about with Gibson here is that. And Johnny Drama as well. I mean, I think we definitely still have some Willises to get through as well. I mean, this movie I think was a harder sit, no pun intended, than Wire Room was. Because it was just really hard to use this plot device of him just they just had to keep dragging it. All they could do is drag it out.
That's the best they can do. And plus you got these kind of got Ava.
Yeah.
It's like,
I am curious. Oh well, yeah. I was going to say I'm curious what On the Line is going to be like, which also reunites these two. Yeah, exactly. Because that's going to have it's going to have Gibson and Johnny Drama. And Johnny Drama, I believe, But or is it? Oh wait, which one has Johnny Drama? Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah,
No,
it is.
no, Johnny Drama's on the line. It's have to
Yeah.
wait for it to be free, but it's out now. I think you can buy it on demand. So.
Yeah. It's I mean it's already got 32 critic reviews, so somebody must be
really?
out there. They must be passing this thing around. We should, like whoever's listening to this, hey, we get us some screeners.
Yeah, I'll take a free copy of On the Line. Exactly, it just looks like talk radio, meets dead air, any TV show from the 90s.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, yeah, talk radio, I think spawned like a whole genre of movies like that were just like, well, actually, no, because I was trying to think, because I remember the one I was thinking of, the erotic thriller with Debbie Harry. Actually, she wasn't a talk radio. She was a phone sex operator. That was the other thing, too, right? 1-900 calls.
Oh.
like
a whole genre. In the middle of the night when you're watching TV. And it's like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or Girls Gone Wild, and, it's all very ridiculous. Or Pure Moods.
Pure Moods. Yeah, with Enya. That was always great.
Yeah. Right. I never bought Pure Moods, and you're right. I've never seen them in stores. It's like you're right. You can only buy it now. I guess you could. Maybe you can still buy it now. I don't know. It's like
so they still do the Time Life things. They still do the Time Life. My wife and I actually kind of enjoy watching them. We get a kick out of watching them. So we'll like watch whatever, soft rock, and it'll have like Guy from
Jock Jams.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they still, the Time Life ones, they still do the collections, and they're always like, if you were to download all of these, and if you were to this and that, and it's like, so they have to kind of switch it up.
I guess. Yeah. It's like, I remember there's Monsters of Rock, I think. It's like, they always play Warren. They always Heaven by Warren, right?
Yes, that's
Heaven
always
it's too far away.
Yeah. Do you ever get like when you hear one of those songs on the radio, like you're expecting like the next song to be the next one in the commercial from all those stories? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, they cut it off. It's like, no, don't cut off that one. Oh,
right. Yeah, it's like I hear Heaven, and then I don't know what the next one would be. Like whatever was the next one in that commercial. I can't remember. Right. I know some of them, like the '70s ones. It was like they would go from like one to another really quickly, and yeah.
And they get like Tom Bosley or maybe Casey Kasem. It's like
yeah. When I was visiting my family, my mom does this serious satellite radio thing, and she always has the '70s channel on.
Yeah, I heard the Casey Kasem thing before. It's like, that. It's like it's a gap band. It's like I can't really do Casey Kasem. But I only know that Casey Kasem was in the episode of Saved by the Bell where they're doing that goofy dance. Yeah. If you remember. Yeah, and like everyone's like has a broken leg or something.
Yes, because what was it? Lisa had the broken leg, right? And so she didn't want to be. She had to work with Screech, and then Screech was doing the limp too, and suddenly everybody liked it.
It's like, let's all do the limp. Oh. So it's like, I hear they only did like 1 or 2 takes of each scene because like we can't really afford anything else.
Because they would pump those things out. I mean, they were doing like they pumped those episodes out quite a bit. So yeah, have you seen yet the Lifetime movie that Screech had made on Saved by the Bell?
No, I've heard of it. Is it funny? And it's funny.
It is. I mean, granted, of course, unfortunately, Screech is no longer with us, and he'd be
Screech.
Upset that we're referring to him as Screech and not Dustin Diamond. But it is fantastic. It's like the people that they have playing the different characters is great. I'll
look it up. I'm assuming that's around. It's just what they call it, the unauthorized Saved by the Bell or something.
Boy, that's a great question. It's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know there's like an unauthorized like Full House movie.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what this is, because I think Screech wrote a book about his time on because like one of the funniest things, I'll kind of just give this one away, but
sure.
One of the funniest things is that the show's taking off, right? And so the studio decides to send them to different parts of the world to do appearances. So what ends up happening is it's like I think like Zach and Kelly, Tiffany Amber-Thiessen and Mark Paul, they get sent to I think like Paris or something, and
nice.
I think like Slater and Mario Lopez and I think Jesse Spano, they get sent to Another
where's
really nice
Berkeley going? Yeah.
It was. I think they get sent to like L.A. or Miami. Same with Lark Voorhees. They get sent to like really nice places, and Screech gets sent to like Gaithersburg, Maryland, or something like that.
Of course, that's the definition of course. It's like,
yeah, and of course he was just like, his character was devastated about like, why am I getting sent to the crap place or something like that, and it's that kind of stuff that you're just like, it's fantastic.
Because I was just looking this up. I think coming soon in Connecticut is 90s Fest, and they got nice. Paul Gosselaar and Berkeley to like appear.
Nice.
I'm not sure when it is. I think maybe March or April.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, I got Berkeley, so maybe she can sign my Detonator DVD if I go there. Not Showgirls, not something about Detonator. See, no one would expect that.
That would be amazing. Yeah. I saw her. So when I was out in San Diego in 2001 with my buddy, we went up to LA just to kind of, to walk around Hollywood, stuff like that. And we got tickets to the Craig Kilborn show. And she was on there promoting Curse of the Jade Scorpion. She was in that movie with
that's right, Woody Allen, right?
Woody Allen movie. So she was promoting that, and then Hector Elizondo was on there promoting this movie called Tortilla Soup that had Soldier Boy alum Jacqueline Obradors. But,
I know you love Jacqueline Obradors.
Yeah, exactly. But I always, whenever I hear about Elizabeth Berkley, I always think about that, like her, being on the Craig Kilborn show. And it was kind of this really weird thing where it was like, we were told we were going to get a special, like all get a gift, and the gift was him. He was on Gear magazine's cover, so we each got a copy of the magazine.
You all got a picture of Gear magazine with Craig Kilborn on the cover.
Yeah, and the other thing I remember, because I saw Elizabeth Berkley up close, because when we were in line, like either leaving or coming in, I can't remember, there were some like VIP people that she knew that she had gotten tickets to the show, and so she was like making sure they got in okay or something like that. So maybe they were family members or something. Cool. Yeah, and so it's funny, like, from a celebrity standpoint, like, I mean, she was at that point, like, she was trying to make that transition not only from Saved by the Bell but also from Showgirls, right? Like, she had, her career had just kind of bottomed out, and of course, Woody Allen, we know now, of course, making a movie with young women in it, right? He's like, I'll cast any young woman in my movie, so it's like, right. So it was like a kind of a match made in heaven there, where she got to be in that movie. I still haven't seen that one yet.
I've never seen it. I don't really. What is it, like a private detective comedy or something?
Yeah.
Never saw it. I mean, I never saw Small Time Crooks or.
I
did see Hollywood Ending though, because I had Treat Williams, and I was still a big fan. But I watched all Treat Williams movies. I don't think I even knew his name at the time.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about Woody Allen movies, because he makes he was making one a year until it was kind of finally like, okay, you're done. Maybe he still does make them, but
I haven't checked in.
Yeah, the people he would get in some of those movies, you just, like you said, like Treat Williams, you wouldn't expect like Treat Williams to be in a Woody Allen, but he was, or people like that you just, because I think part of it was like Woody Allen's movies, they couldn't pay a lot for his movies, so it was like whoever the casting director was, they were really just selling the fact that you're working with Woody Allen. So obviously, Treat Williams,
want to do that, so that's a good gig for him. And then, what's the one I never saw? But I think it's called Anything Else. That has Christina Ricci or Ricci.
Yes. Yeah.
Jason Biggs. And I never saw it. It looks kind of annoying. I think it's a bunch of bickering, maybe. But it's like, is it that? Is it a bunch of bickering?
So what's interesting about it is Jason Biggs, he's got this really bad. He's like a screenwriter in New York, and he has a really bad agent played by Danny DeVito. And then he meets Woody Allen's character, and there's a question of whether Woody Allen's character is like a real person or maybe like some kind of, almost like kind of like in Fight Club, right, where you've got
so Edward he might Norton. Be like a figment of Jason Biggs' imagination.
Exactly. Yeah, and so he does things that are kind of much more extreme. Like, so there's a scene where there's these white supremacists in the area, and I guess they'd given Biggs a hard time, and so Woody Allen's character like grabs I don't remember what it was. It was like a crowbar or something, and he smashes their windows out, and then they speed away or something like that.
That's the closest you're gonna get to Woody Allen action movie.
That's what I was gonna say. This is the most action, I think. This probably is it. And it's only those couple scenes. Like, it's not a lot.
Oh, okay. But we should probably go back to Hot Seat in a minute. Yes, I want to mention one thing, which was I was watching Martial Law. That's the show of Sammo Hung.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I watched the complete series. Actually, it's really good, by the way. If you should buy it and watch it. But they had the crossover of Early Edition. Remember the show where the guy Kyle Chandler gets a newspaper a day early?
Oh yes, yeah.
So they had a crossover with that in Martial Law. So Sammo Hung drops by. And he says, "I know your secret." Well, I can say it in the accent, but I might get in trouble.
No,
but
right. Right.
But because his English isn't that great, but
Yeah.
that's part of the appeal, though. So it was the most action-packed early edition episode I've ever seen. It's like Sammo Hung. It's like beating up people. There's like people getting through the plate glass windows. Carl Chandler's punching people. It's like the show is usually so kind of boring. So it was nonstop action. It was like, whoa, this is rocking for early edition.
Yeah. Funny thing too, because you're telling me about Marshall. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear sirens in the background here.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good, because we got the fire.
Maybe like a faint.
When you were mentioning about martial law, one of the things that came to mind that I had kind of forgotten about was that, that was on the same night as Walker, and remember there was that period where Cynthia Rothrock and Stacy Keach were going to have an action show on CBS where they had the pilot
Irresistible Force. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, imagine what kind of a night that would have been on a Saturday night to have.
It really would kick you in the head. I mean, like you get Sammo, Chuck, and Rothrock and Keach.
Yeah, what a missed opportunity there. But that would have, we would be talking about, we still kind of talk about those shows, but I think we'd be talking about that night. Because kind of what happens, right, is that martial law kind of goes away. We kind of, like you said, we kind of forget how great that one was.
It was surprisingly good. Actually, there was some heart to it. Arsenio Hall wasn't as annoying in the later seasons.
Yeah. Kelly Hu
was all over it.
Yeah.
And so the action's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I guess Sammo Hung brought his stunt team over to LA to film it. So
yeah, it was a really fun show, especially on a Saturday night. You're kind of figuring out what you're going to do before you get to USA Up All Night. It was that was a good one to watch. And of course, Walker Texas Ranger became a huge butt of jokes with with Conan O'Brien, where he'd do like the Walker lever and all that kind of stuff. And so it would have been interesting if Irresistible Force would have really kind of made that just like an entire. It would have been a unique thing, because I think now CBS was trying to do it again, where they were doing like Hawaii Five-0 and Magnum reboots and kind of make it.
Let's bring back something like this. People like kicking and punching.
Yeah, and I think action on TV. Whatever it was, because remember, I've been watching A-Team episodes. Nice. They play that on MeTV, and I think about how fun that is. Yes, nobody ever gets shot on the A-Team, but there's still like explosions, cars being flipped, and that kind of thing. We think of the
Airwolf.
The shows. Yeah, Airwolf, right? Airwolf was another great one. Sledgehammer, a Hunter. Like you forget sometimes with Hunter, like how much action was in a Hunter episode. Till you watch it.
Until the later seasons where he's riding a desk. But
right, exactly.
I've already railed against that like 100 times.
That's right.
That's true. Multiple podcasts. But in the first few seasons, he was like killing people.
Right. Yeah. It was
works for me.
Stuff going on there. Yeah. And I think nowadays it's like these procedurals where it's the action is really more like, oh, we got to go in and bust this guy, and is anything going to happen?
That's about it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I do on Blue Bloods, which I watch. And,
and a lot of those shows are like, and NCIS doesn't really have a lot of action. Law and Order, CSI, and I think that was a piece that we, I kind of forget like how good that was, but also it does make for like really fun. Maybe it's the expense, maybe it's the cost nowadays.
I think it's expensive. I hear that's why Martial Law got canceled. I think they almost got a third season, but they say that Sammo Hung didn't like the scripts, but I don't think that's true. I think actually it's really expensive because the scripts, well, yes, they were stupid, obviously, but they weren't that stupid. No. I was watching this show on 10, like, this wasn't that dumb.
Yeah. Well, and how smart do they need to be if Sammo Hung is bringing it from an action standpoint with his team? It's like, I think there's a lot of things like for, kind of coming back to this movie a little bit, but, right. But also Wire Room. But I think also too with TV shows, if the story only needs to be so good, as long as the action is there or the performances are fun, or the actors are giving a good performance, like we can get by on a bad story if there's other pieces there to help it. And in a way, sometimes those pieces matter more. Very few things that are very strongly story driven for a movie. It's not like with a book, right? With a book, you need the story because that's all you have, right? You don't have anything else but the story. But a movie, you have so many other pieces that you need for it to work. That story is only so much of it, I think.
Well, see, that's the thing. I look it up. I look up Martial all the time because there's got to be more information about why I got canceled. So
yeah,
And there was. I mean, like, it was expensive.
Yeah.
And also I didn't like the scripts. And then they were like, Sammo Hung and Arsenal Hall hate each other. It's like, one of those is right. I think it's the expenses. Because they seem like they had decent chemistry overall.
Yeah.
But if I should go back to Wire Room, they could maybe work on Wire Room show, or Kevin Dillon could be on it. Kevin Dillon should be on a TV show.
He would have been and I mean, from an age standpoint, he could have done this, right? Because he was born in like 65, I think, so he would have been.
Oh, he's one of these secretly old people,
right? So right, exactly, right. I think in every movie I think he was divorced in Wire Room. We did see a spouse, but in the other two movies, he's always got a spouse who's like 20 years younger than him.
Yeah, they're always mad at him.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, one of the things I think, with Kevin Dillon, like he could have done, like when you think of like syndicated action TV shows, I mean, he would be great in like a 45-minute,
like a Stingray or a Cobra kind of show. Yeah, he played like maybe kind of like a bumbling kind of agent kind of guy.
You know what would be awesome, actually, when you think about it? So he's the bumbling agent guy, and then maybe you get like someone like a Natalie Byrne, who's like, or Amy Johnston, right? Like
that'd be good,
yeah, almost kind of like what like Cynthia Rothrock was kind of not quite doing with Stacey Keach, because Stacey Keach was more with it, but like you have like this other almost, it wouldn't quite be a full-on Inspector Gadget approach, where Inspector Gadget's bumbling and Penny is solving all the crimes, but
and Brain, let's not forget about Brain.
Right, exactly. but some of that dynamic, right? I mean, you could have a computer guy who would be like the brain character, like it would almost be like a
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, I would watch that show.
Yeah, I wonder what they call it, but I mean, I can't think of a title that quickly. Yeah. But maybe like,
Yeah, I mean, maybe it would be something like where the characters' names, like maybe it's like, it would be great. It would be great.
Like Rizzoli Isles.
Yeah, like my wife and I sometimes will watch on the Retro Channel. Sometimes they'll have old like George Burns' show, Burns and Allen. That would be a great title where like Dillon's playing Officer Burns, and then Johnston.
Well, I mean Natalie Byrne.
That's great. Natalie Byrne could be Burns, and then he would be somebody named Allen, and it would be Burns.
Yeah, Burns and Allen's back. It's like wait a second.
Right. Yeah. Maybe it's like a private detective thing. Because this private detective thing is perfect, because Dillon has to always be disgraced, right? So
it's disgraced and bumbling, and then Natalie Byrne comes in, helps be his partner.
Yes,
and I think we have something here.
That would be a fantastic TV show, and I think the bumbling part of it with Dillon, it's like there's
that's
these
the
movies.
Thing. He's bumbling, but he's not stupid.
Right.
Yeah. He's not like a complete utter dum-dum, himbo guy.
Right. Yeah. He plays a very flawed character that actually works. Like with these Emmett-Furla
That's the
movies,
thing. He has, exactly. He has like 1.5, maybe even 2 dimensions on these characters.
Right, exactly. Because you think of what doesn't work with these Emmett-Furla, Bruce Willis, or now Mel Gibson movies, is that like we think about like when we watched Wrong Place the last time.
Yeah.
Ashley Greene's character.
Nothing.
Right, she has no flaw to her. She's just always like smarter than the bad guy, all those kind of things. Whereas Kevin Dillon, in a similar situation, he's bumbling, right? He's befuddled.
He's trying. He's trying his best to figure this out.
I mean, one of the best scenes in this is where he tries to
which
outsmart
one? Wire Room?
Yeah, no, in Hot Seat.
Okay.
He's trying to outsmart the bad guy, and he fails. So the bad guy says, he says to him, say it, you're my bitch. And he's like, I am your bitch.
Yeah.
And go ahead. Yeah.
No, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Well, but it was like so perfect, because it was like only Dillon could play a character who says something like that and is like that flawed. Like you wouldn't see Jesse Metcalfe telling a baddie, I am your bitch. Like it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work in the movie.
That makes it funny, because then at the towards the end, like, look who's in the hot seat now.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, please say it. Oh, he did.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I mean, this movie had a lot of that. I mean, both movies had a lot of that kind of thing. The bad one-liners. I mean, there's the scene.
I'll take them.
Yeah. They're again, bad one-liner, anything like that. It's like if the movie is fun, it just adds to the fun. But if the movie's bad, it's just more like eye roll and like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't really eye roll on that. I just laughed.
Yeah.
Because it's Kevin Dillon, so you can't really help but laugh. But
yeah.
I guess I think those are all my notes. I gotta take a look.
I mean, I think kind of final take on both of these. I mean, this was more of a slog than Wire Room, but I think the Kevin Dillon factor is there. That if you enjoy Kevin Dillon, this is fun Kevin Dillon where he's sitting most of the time. And then Mel Gibson, this is This reminds you of why Mel Gibson was big in the 90s. This role.
Exactly. And that's why I liked Hot Seat maybe just a little bit more than Wire Room, because you got Kevin Dillon and then you got Mel Gibson putting in a decent performance.
Yeah.
So put those two together and you got a somewhat decent. Yes, the plot itself was very, very stupid, but
yeah, it's a hard movie to get through because it's one of those ones where it's like you're just I don't know about you, but I was constantly watching the slider bar to be like, okay, how much more do I have left? So that part of it was hard, but it's almost kind of like Who Let the Dogs Out with Baha Men, right? Where it's like once you get through it, then you go back and think about it, and you're like, I enjoyed that Johnny drama, I enjoyed that Mel Gibson. It's that kind of thing. It's these. I think the decision that we made here to go full on Kevin Dillon,
the full drama.
Yeah, I think it did work. I think for people out there who either watched Entourage or didn't, but kind of know who Kevin Dillon is, he makes these movies a little bit more fun, I think.
I think he maybe knows that because he knows how to act.
Right.
So what's funny was when I watched Wire Room, I watched the Wire Room and Hot Seat back to back because I had
me too.
Extra time. So I just hey, look who's back! It's Johnny Drama and Hot Seat. He opens the door and he has that goatee again, and it's like, oh, hey, look who's back.
Right. So. There's something about it. And it is. I mean, and the other thing too we talked about, because we were talking about some of the best sit down roles ever. Maybe we can get into that in a bit. But one of the things that makes Kevin Dillon interesting in a sit down role is that ADD factor where he can't sit still. He plays these characters that and I don't know if in real life he's like that. If he's like the kind of person that if you're on a plane, he's that person sitting in front of you that you see the seat moving constantly because they keep shaking around and moving and going on. They keep leaning back as far as they can and all that kind of stuff. Like if he's that kind of person, or if he's just good at playing that kind of person. He's just good at he's watched people his whole life that do that. And he's just he's going to keep doing it. But it adds an element of a dynamic element to a sit down role.
And hopefully he can do more of these soon. So I'm going to keep an eye on old Johnny Drama.
Yeah, we were talking about this kind of off the air about some of the best sit down roles ever. I mean, I think obviously we think of Mickey Rooney why am I drawing a blank on the movie with Ted Force? No, without.
Oh, you're talking about Dangerous Place.
Dangerous, yes. Yeah, actually, so Mickey Rooney, right, was in Maximum Force.
Right, I'm thinking of Dick Van Patten.
Dick Van Patten was another good sit-down. Yeah, I get them confused. I get those two confused.
They do look a lot alike.
Right.
Yeah, Dick Van Patten, Dangerous Place, Rooney, Maximum Force, both sit-down roles.
Yeah. So. Well, the funny thing about Dick Van Patten in A Dangerous Place we were talking about is that the only time he stands up is when Aaron Gray walks into his office and he feels like, well, it's a woman, I have to stand up and greet her. So if Ted Jan Roberts had a single dad in that movie instead of a single mom, maybe we never see him stand up. Maybe he never
Maybe he doesn't have legs.
Yeah, right, exactly. But you're right. Maximum Force with Rooney sitting in the back of the limo the whole time was a fantastic one.
I kind of wish he came out of the limo at the end, though. Wouldn't that have been nice?
Yeah,
I always make fun of that, but wouldn't it be great if we actually just you know what? I'm out of this limo. Time to yell at you some more. And then he gets shot or something. Yeah. He blows up.
I would have been okay.
Have an end to that character,
Yeah, it's kind of we just get that there where he's just sitting. Yeah, that's it's yeah.
I know. And we never got the ending of Rooney's character as we wanted. Yes, it's funny that he's in it, but
yeah,
I gotta get a better copy. By the way, mine's like an e-piece, memtex tape. I gotta get a better one.
I ever had it. I rented it on DVD.
Nice. Yeah. I found at this place called Time Tunnel, and I just at the time I was like, well, hey, look, Maximum Force.
Yeah.
But then I realized, okay, I can get a better copy. Right. And then I never did because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
If I find, I don't want to pay too much online, so. If it's like I said, $10, I'll buy it.
It's definitely a fun one for people out there who haven't seen it.
It's a fun one for sure, Maximum Force.
Yeah, I think it's worth checking out for people. Sam Jones is just always.
You can't go wrong with Sam Jones.
No, he in the '90s in particular, he just had this kind of brick head kind of thing. Where it's just head. Yeah. It's just this is just sort of kind of brick. Mentality, the whole thing, But I mean, of course, it's it's PM. It's got John Saxon, Richard Lynch as well. But then
Richard Lynch is Yamamoto, no, Max Tanabe.
Right. Yeah. It's just
that's
the whole
thing.
It
up, by the way.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm kind of looking myself at it. I mean, Mickey Rooney. So I didn't realize that Van Patten in A Dangerous Place plays principal.
Yes.
Mickey Rooney in this plays chief of police. That's the only name he has.
Right. He has no name, so that makes it funny.
Oh, another thing too with these sit-down roles is you get no name. So yeah, I think in terms of sit-down roles, those are some fun ones. And then
I agree.
we talked about Seagal. I think Sniper Special Ops is an interesting one because
I never had a chance to watch it, but I hear he just kind of sits or lays down the whole time.
Yeah, so Simon at Explosive Action, I think he actually documents how much time he spends standing. And
I gotta reread that review, but it was really funny.
Yes, but I think of also like a lot of those Keone Waxman movies that Seagal did, where he would sit behind a desk or a chair or something, and then you'd have somebody else out there doing the heavy lifting. And I think there was even scenes where he was supposed to be driving, and it was just like him with a steering wheel in front of him and a green screen behind him. Yeah, I kind of seen
that. I think I don't remember which movie that was, but it was very obvious.
Yeah. So I mean, with Seagal's sit down
maybe Shadow Man.
It might, it was that one, or it was there was a General Commander maybe, or
I didn't watch that yet, but I will.
Yeah, or not General.
Joe Commander, that's like his last movie. I mean, I don't think he has two jobs, but
right. Yeah. Well, and one thing I forgot to mention about Hot Seat, actually, now as we're talking about Seagal, the director of Hot Seat, James Cullen Bressak, he did the last Seagal movie. What was that one? Payback or
Beyond the
Final
Law?
Payback? The one with DMX.
Beyond the Law.
Beyond the Law, that's right. Why did I think Payback? What was I thinking about was Payback? But
there's Payback and there's Pay Dirt, as you talked about in the last episode, which I haven't watched yet.
No, right. That's the one with Goss and
Kilmer.
Yeah, which I did that for a different podcast. It was that one actually. It wasn't horrible. The ending of it was really. I don't want to give it away, but so
I'll get to it one day. I'm interested, but I have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but James Cullen Bressak. I remember him because he early on, when he was first starting out, he would send out his screeners to kind of to everybody. But his movies were really like kind of like disturbing horror movie kind of things. So he did one about these like anti-Semitic home invasion where they're like kind of torturing these the Jewish people in the neighborhood, and he did it. He's of Jewish descent, so that's why he kind of didn't think it was so bad that he was doing it. But I was like, I'm not touching that movie. That's just too much.
For me. You'll get in trouble.
Right. Well, not even to get in trouble. I was like, I don't know if I want to watch that kind of a movie. Right. I don't know if I want to see a movie like that. So when I saw that he finally started getting these roles, and it looks like he's kind of in with the Emmett-Furla crew, where he's kind of in their stable of directors now, where they're just kind of pumping out these movies, and he's able to kind of come in and do it. I think between Beyond the Law and this one had a lot of like things edited into it. It was almost like when you talk about staying up late at night and you watch like commercials. This was almost kind of like that, where it's like, oh, do you have were you exposed to this thing and have this problem? And it's like they're like talking about like this horrible oh, talcum powder gave you cancer, and it shows like, call now and it'll show a cell phone picture, and it's like, then it shows a person like sitting at their window with their head in their hand going, oh, I've got cancer, and all these kinds of things. And it was kind of like the way he did that, where he would like, just edit in all this stuff constantly into the movie. Like, someone would mention something and it would just throw something in it. It almost had that kind of feel to it. I don't know if you had that same sense.
Here and there, because it got a little messy. I think I wrote that in my notes.
Yeah.
But I thought overall it was okay. I think both movies really weren't that bad. Just I'll put a little button on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think with Bressak, one of the things I noticed between this and Beyond the Law is I think as a director, he kind of takes these movies that, where I was talking to Scott Murphy on a previous podcast where he was talking about how horror movies, a lot of times the director is sort of making art, whereas with the action movies, a lot of times they get a director and they're just doing a job to get the movie done. I think, yeah, and I think for him, I think with a lot of these movies that you could say that, right? That these directors are just kind of given a job to get this movie in the can. And I think for him, it does kind of
possible.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for him, there is a feeling of like, yes, I'm in here to do the job and get this movie done, but I also have this thing as a director where I like to kind of have fun as a director. And he throws in some stuff here and there that are little directorial touches that I do kind of appreciate. So the other little element there just to kind of mention.
Yeah, so I think this conversation went pretty well about these Kev Dillon movies. So it's like,
yeah, I think we made the right call. I think
we did. So that was good.
Yeah. I think we'll see where we go next with these because, as you said, there is a lot out there for us to be doing. So
that'll be good.
Yeah,
so I'll do this again for sure.
Yeah, we'll see what's available. We'll see what happens. But yeah, before we wrap up, Ty, did you have any plugs for us?
Oh, I guess Action Rocks is the Instagram, and then Comeuppance.net. You can find that. You type in the old Google search. And then that's about it. We'll do Unsung Dudikoff soon, by the way.
Yes.
Set that up soon. Very soon.
That'll be a good
classic scheduling.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to mention about your site, because we were talking about this yesterday. We were talking because speaking of this film having Shannon Doherty, we were talking about other 90210
ones.
Yeah,
and Rick Perry, The Triangle.
Yes, and the review of The Triangle is one of my favorites on your site.
Like people, I'll tell it to Brett.
It is hilarious. So I mean, it's definitely I don't know if I have a top 10 of your favorite reviews.
That's nice.
But that's definitely up there. So for people out there, I mean, definitely go check out the site anyway. Comeuppance.net. But yeah, that one on The Triangle, you handle that movie
itself.
It's handled as perfectly as it can be. It's so great, and I think it's one of those classics anyway that like I've got a review for the site at some point because I remember seeing it on TBS.
The TBS Superstation original movie.
Right, exactly.
The original Tubi.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, good old TBS when they would have their original movies on, and
that was funny. Yeah.
The thing I always loved about TBS was late at night when it was like they would like at midnight they would show Roadhouse, and then when it got to like 2 a.m. they'd start the Andy Sidaris films. And,
right.
And it was like, how much are they going to edit out of this Andy Sidaris movie?
Almost everything.
Right, exactly.
But I gotta say, well, thanks again for having me on. We'll have to do this again soon.
Yeah, I think we'll
have to figure out what movies are next.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up on Tubi, or on Hulu or whatnot, or if we just kind of go into some of the other ones. But I think we've got some interesting places to go. So we still got a lot of Willis out there to do. And now Kevin Dillon and now it looks like Mel Gibson might be one that we're going to be thinking about. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a lot of places, and of course, if people have ideas, feel free to reach out. At dtvconnoisseur@yahoo.com. If you've got some movies in this vein, so they don't absolutely have to be an Emmett-Furla Oasis production, but it's that kind of idea, I think, is kind of what we're looking for.
Exactly. That's perfect.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and thanks again, Ty, for coming on. It was a great time.
You're very welcome. Happy to do it.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone.
Bye.